everybody, I'm Jonathan Randall, and welcome to another episode of How You Like Me Now. Today's Memorial Day. I hope everybody's enjoying their day off. I did not take a day off from recording the podcast because I still want to get my content out there. I still got something I want to say, and I appreciate everybody who's listening to it. Thank you for all your support, whether it's with the podcast, on social media, no matter what. I appreciate it. We did the first Randy Hour last week, a comedy show I did at a bookstore here at P&T Knitwear. It did not really go the way I was hoping. I mean, on social media, I have over 115,000 followers, and guess how many of them showed up to support my comedy show? Yeah, 0. It was kind of discouraging. Thankfully, I still had some friends come out to the show. I still had some people off the street, but I was definitely hoping that there was going to be a much larger audience, and I was totally disappointed that there wasn't. Not sure that this is the best venue for a comedy show, just whether it's a huge store, there's a lot going on, the lights are high, the ceilings are high too, so I'm not sure I'm going to do another show at this venue, but I will be producing Save the Garden at the Elizabeth Street Garden this summer, June, July, and August, the last Thursday of every month. We will be doing a comedy show. I hope to get some great comics to be a part of the show, and it's going to be a good time. Last year the shows were packed, and I'm hoping for the same this year, so definitely come out and show some support if you didn't last time. I hope people are going to support my comedy too, and not just my opinions when it comes to Israel and Palestine. I would like there to be a free Palestine. I want there to be a peaceful coexistence between Israel and Palestine. For anyone that is a little confused about my message, I know I call out Israel a lot on their bullshit, specifically on their human rights violations of the Palestinian people, but still, I'm not calling for a complete destruction of the state of Israel. I want there to be a peaceful coexistence. Israel does exist. It's a thriving nation that does contribute a lot, even though unfortunately a lot of what it contributes is bad things for the Palestinian people. But nonetheless, I'm hoping that people could get along. I'm hoping Israelis and Palestinians could find a way to have a better future and not just be obsessed with the past. The same arguments I see on social media, it's our land, we were here first, you started it. It gets nobody nowhere. It doesn't matter anymore what the past happens. What matters is the present to me, and what matters is the future. And we gotta want a better future for our children, and not just them to pay for the mistakes of the past with not living a life of dignity, not living a life of freedom, and continuing living a life of oppression, whether it's living in fear of Israel or living in fear of, Palestinian fighters who are sending missiles or whatever into Israel. I don't want anybody living in fear. I want everybody living together. The same forces that hate Jews, they hate Arabs and Muslims too. They want us fighting one another like I talk about in my act, so they can focus on being bigoted towards other people. But anyways, we got to stop fighting. We're cousins, and I want there to be a peaceful coexistence. That's what I care about. Anyways, I hope people will support my comedy. It's so important to me. I try to talk about the Palestinian struggle in my comedy as well, even though I'm finding more and more that people don't want to hear about it. But I want to say something with my comedy. I'd like to make a difference. I'd like to have a positive impact on the world, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. I'm not going to conform to what people want me to do. I'm going to be true to myself. I haven't had the success that I really want to have in comedy, but I do feel extremely successful that I have been true to myself. I haven't kissed a lot of ass, and that I'm still doing it after all this time, despite not having conventional success, especially when it comes to money. But I'm still doing it, and that is success to me, doing what you love to do. All right, another thing I haven't had a lot of success in is dating with the ladies. I actually went out with the girl last week a couple times. We had a really great connection. I actually really liked this girl. Things were going well until we went out for a third time this weekend, and we had a lot of drinks. We got pretty drunk, and that's when she decided to reveal to me that she had been lying about her age, and she was about 5 years older than she claimed to have been. And that just kind of really threw a wrench in everything. So I was totally wasted, and I did still end up sleeping with her, which maybe was silly on my part, because once she told me she lied about her age, I knew that this wasn't a woman that I was gonna be interested in having a relationship with. I am attracted to this woman. We do have fantastic sexual chemistry. The sex was pretty good. I definitely enjoyed it. But after I felt maybe having sex with her led her on a little bit, because I'm not going to be in a relationship with someone that started that relationship off with dishonesty and lying to me. It's crazy. She was like, oh, well, I told you the truth, so, it's cool. And I'm like, no, you lied in the first place. There's no reason to lie. It's crazy that somebody would lie on a dating app, because if you're looking for a relationship is never going to come from something where you're lying and being dishonest. In my opinion, that's not the kind of relationship I want to get in. If you're going to lie from the get-go, that's what the relationship started in, then, who knows if I could ever trust you through the course of the relationship. I want, if the relationship's starting with dishonesty, I feel like it's doomed to fail. So, I actually wrote the girl earlier today, and I told her, listen, I don't think a relationship's in the card for us. I will not have a relationship with somebody who lied to me and starting a relationship off on a lie. I told her, listen, we do have an attraction. We do have good sexual chemistry. If you want to have a friends with benefits situation, I'd be down with it. She wrote me back she is, and she wants that. She wanted to meet up later today. But then she sent me this crazy long message about, her liking me, and I guess her concerns about being in a relationship with me and all this stuff. And it made me realize that, I think, having a physical relationship with this girl is just going to lead to somebody getting hurt, particularly her. And I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to do that. So I might just have to end the whole thing. Ladies, if you're out there, if you're lying on an app, something about yourself, stop. If you really want to meet somebody, then starting off a relationship with dishonesty is not the way to do it. And besides, if you can't be honest about who you are in a relationship, and you think that someone's only going to like you if you tell a lie, then why do you want to be with that person? Why do you want to be with somebody who isn't going to like you for who you are? Also this girl, one thing about her, she's super insecure about her looks. I think she's a beautiful girl. I was severely attracted to her. I love her body. I think she's got a beautiful face, but crazy insecure about it. I learned that through, the course of, going out there a couple times, especially when we got intimate, and I was figuring out how insecure she was. But who wants to be with somebody like that? If you're not comfortable in your own skin, how is anyone ever going to be comfortable with you? One thing I actually really, really liked about this girl, which made it so much more disappointing that I found out she had lied to me and that she's so insecure with herself, was we were at this a pork bun place that I love. This amazing pork bun place in in Chinatown, right down Little Italy, that I go to all the time. It's fantastic. They have the best pork buns in New York City. I'm such a huge fan. And we went there, and there are kind of two lines, and there are some other people waiting around there. And one of the lines open, and this girl starts yelling at us for going to the line, oh no, that's the line for people with orders. That's not the right line for us, and someone else should go on that line. I'm like, lady, you don't know what you're talking about. There are two lines. They're both for people, whoever's there, go get up on the line. She was ignorant of how their line system worked, and then she decided to be arrogant about it. So I kind of told her off. I said, actually, lady, these lines are for anything. If you want to step up and get something, go ahead. If not, you're just trying to be obnoxious to people, that's fine too. I looked at the girl now she was gonna kind of be turned off that I just kind of said this to a stranger online, but she was so into it. She was so excited. She totally liked my my Larry David-esque. She was totally into my Curb Your Enthusiasm way of life. And I really liked it. And she was like, yeah, I think that's awesome that you did that. And I was like, I think that's awesome that you think I'm awesome. I think this is a sensibility that I find mostly Jews actually have. She's an Italian girl, so Jews and Italian. But I found a lot of Gentile, especially for lack of a not so derogatory phrase, waspy girls, they will get so bent out of shape. Oh my God, stop embarrassing me. Stop causing a scene. But I'm not causing a scene. Sometimes you gotta let people know when they're being dicks and put them in their place if they're being arrogant about their own ignorance, which isn't cool. Anyways, I really like that quality in a woman. I was thrilled she had it. Unfortunately, she lied to me. So that's not gonna be good. I had another dating thing thing happen, actually, which is weird because I think I kind of got like stood up from a girl that I was supposed to go out with, but I ended up actually canceling the date right before I met her. But she had already ghosted me, blocked me apparently, and like not planned on coming to the date, which I had no idea, and I felt so bad. So I was supposed to go out with this girl. We'd been texting for like a week or two, and she had really good text, really witty remarks. We were going back and forth. And then she confirmed the date that we were supposed to have. It was actually yesterday. And she said, oh, just so you know, I look nothing like my pictures. Now, after just being lied to about a woman's age and, going on other dates where women didn't look like the picture, this was like a red flag for me. So I said, hey, why don't you send me a picture? I want to make sure you are who you say you are before I go out with you. She sent me a picture. We started having more of a back and forth. She's like, am I cute enough for you? I was like, yes. I was making some jokes based on our previous conversation. I don't know. I guess maybe she didn't appreciate one of those jokes. Then it was like a half hour before we were supposed to meet, and I was just like not feeling it, nothing to do with her, just not feeling like going out and like being in like on for a date right then. I actually took an edible and I was like so messed up from earlier in the day, and I was like, it was a mistake to take that edible. So I just texted her, hey, listen, I took an edible, stronger than I anticipated. Let's do a rain check for tonight. I was like, all right, that's the end of it. And I felt bad. I'm like, that's rude to like cancel on somebody like a half hour before you meet them, even to cancel on somebody that you have plans with. It's not a very nice and considerate thing to do. As everybody knows, consideration for others is kind of a thing that's important to me. So I went to text her this morning just to be like, I'm really sorry. That wasn't cool. I flaked on you. But I noticed that my text, didn't go through as a blue text. It went through as a green text. So, and then when I texted her again, it went through again as the green text, which I realized means that she blocks me. When that happens, when the texts don't go through as a blue text, but they go through as a green text, it typically means that you got blocked. So that means if I wouldn't have canceled the date and I would have went there and showed up, she would have never showed up or had the decency to let me know that she wasn't coming. So here I felt bad that I was like flaking on this girl a half hour before the date when she was doing the ghost block stand-up, which is incredibly rude and inconsiderate. But anyways, I guess it all worked out. I had no reason to feel bad of canceling the date because she was like even worse of a person than I am, flaking on a date where she like blocks you, doesn't let you know, and plans on just not showing up, which is so rude. If I would have went and showed up the date and she wouldn't have came, I would have been so pissed off. So I'm so glad I canceled on her. But yeah, don't do that. Don't stand people up and just like block them and be like, oh, I just met him on an app. Who cares? Like, have a little respect for other people and for yourself as well. If you don't want to go out with somebody, you don't have to. Just text them and say, hey, I'm not in the mood to go out, or I don't want to go out, or I'm not feeling the direction our text is going, or something came up, or anything. But just then like block somebody and like not even let them know that like that you don't want to go to the date. It's just like, what kind of horrible person are you? Anyways, that worked out, I guess, for me. Thank goodness I didn't end up going out with a girl like that. These girls don't want these bitches ain't truthful. But they are in a good mood this weekend because Taylor Swift's in town. Oh my God. Taylor Swift coming to town is like every Marvel movie in the Super Bowl for guys all rolled into one. I've never seen women so excited to my life. It's like the Messiah came. It really is. It's like Jesus' second coming is Taylor Swift. And women have never come as hard as they have when Taylor Swift hits the stage and sings her most popular song. I don't know what the most popular song is. I want to find out because I feel like I can make a joke about it and it'd be funnier. But whenever that song comes on, those panties are getting wet because the ladies love Taylor Swift. I performed at a bizarre show this weekend. Really nice guy asked me to do his show. I was happy to do it, and I went there. And the show is in this really weird space where there's a DJ, but there was also beds. I was like, what is happening after the show? Like, it felt like it was going to turn into like a gangbang because there were like 20 dudes, 2 girls there. The vibe was weird. They were all on drugs. They were like selling drugs at the show, which is like cool. I'm down with the drugs, but a little weird. People were like tripping out on ketamine. By the way, it's hard to focus on a comedy show when you're tripping down a K-hole. But anyways, I had fun on the show. It was cool. But man, comedy is fucking hard because some of these shows are just not conducive to stand-up comedy. But I love to perform. I had a good time. The crowd was nice. despite the ratio. I don't know what happened later. All the guys were going to sit around doing drugs. I love doing drugs, but I kind of like doing drugs with girls. I don't just like getting fucked up with a bunch of dudes sitting around. I don't know. I don't know if there was gonna be something sexual going on there, because it really was weird. Or there's like a bed right in the middle of the place. But anyways, maybe I need to be more picky with what gigs I accept. But if you got a good gig out there and you're gonna pay me to do some comedy, because I am fucking hilarious and I feel very strongly about that, let me know. If not, come to the garden shows, or I'm at the comic strip on the 7th, and I'm always doing plenty of shows, so hit me up if you want to come see one. Okay, so while evangelical, I don't even like these Christian people. I think they're absolutely crazy. Evangelical Christians, they are big supporters of Israel, and people want to be like, oh yeah, they support Israel. It's great. I mean, talked about this before. The reason they support Israel is because they think that, there's going to be a holy war before the second coming of Jesus. And then when it comes, all the Jews are going to go to hell when they go up to heaven. So they don't they're using the Jews as a tool. It's kind of anti-Semitic, but of course, Israel looks right past that because they're just happy to have the money. They're happy to have the support, especially when it comes to, Christians in the U.S. government that are supporting them and the evangelical Christians that support them. So they don't care. They just kind of want the money, even though the whole reason that they support Israel is because they hope the Jews will get in a war and then eventually all go to hell because they think that we're less than them, which is totally anti-Semitic and crazy, but people just want to dismiss that because they don't care. Anyways, the many Jews in Israel aren't crazy about the evangelicals, and that's what we saw this weekend, that even though the evangelicals are funneling money into Israel and they have support, it's kind of not the other way around. And many right-wing Israelis, they weren't as welcoming to them. On Sunday, they protested an evangelical Christian event that took place in Jerusalem at the Davidson Center, which is near the West Wall, where they chanted insults, they spit on Christians, and they even broke windows for the center. I guess they didn't want these Christians praying so close to the Western Wall. Maybe you could understand how Muslim people feel when you guys break into Al-Aqsa under the protection of the Israeli military and then pray there, even though you're not supposed to do that, and it is forbidden for you guys to pray there, but you just find loopholes and will pray from your phone instead of a book or anyways. But anyways, you don't want Christians praying near the Western Wall, so maybe you know how they feel. But anyways, they did not want them praying so close. They're afraid that these Christians are going to convert Jews to Christianity. And among the protesters was the deputy mayor of Jerusalem, Aryeh King, who said, and I quote, "As far as I'm concerned, let every missionary know that they are not welcome in the land of Israel." Yeah, that's what the deputy mayor of Jerusalem said. Now, Israel, claims that they condemn any harm to the freedom of religion and worship in Jerusalem, and that Jerusalem is holy to Jews, Christians, Muslims, and religious freedom is a central value in the fabric of life in the city. But that's what Israel likes to say. But many views the actions of these right-wing radicals that are protesting, the evangelical Christians event there. They say that what it is what Jewish supremacy and the Judaization of Jerusalem look like. So, I mean, I think it's a really bad look with everything that's going on, that now they are cursing out Christians too. They had the flag march, a week ago, they were cursing out Muslims. Now they're cursing out Christians. It doesn't seem like they want Israel to be an inclusive place to people of all religions. It seems that there is a fraction of Israelis, right-wing radical Israelis, who want it to be just for Jews, and it is a bad look for Jews everywhere. And I talk about anti-Semitism. When Jewish people do things like this, that promotes anti-Semitism. It's so crazy to me how people want to be like, Jonathan, you're causing anti-Semitism by speaking out on behalf of the Palestinian people and speaking out against the human rights abuses of Israel, speaking out against the forced displacement, speaking out about the killing of journalists. You're causing anti-Semitism. And it's crazy to me that people can see, no, actions of right-wing Israelis that hide behind Judaism and use it to curse out Christians and want to stop Christians from praying or from participating in Jerusalem, that causes anti-Semitism. But of course, nobody wants to condemn them. People just want to silence anyone that speaks out against Israel and blame that as anti-Semitism. It's absolutely infuriating, frustrating, confusing, and crazy. Unfortunately, more craziness going on, more things happening that make Jews look bad, more things happening that are in the way of peace, and that is more Israeli settlers. They started building a new yeshiva at Homesh, which is inside the occupied West Bank. So Israel apparently is now letting settlers enter and exit as they like, but according to Haaretz, which is an Israeli newspaper, they are blocking the reporting on the construction taking place there. So again, so much for freedom of press. So they moved the yeshiva that used to be on private Palestinian land to state-owned land. But according to Yesh Din, which is an Israeli organization, and this is a quote, moving the yeshiva is adding sin to crime. Its new location still doesn't allow Palestinians to reach their land and continues their disposition. Instead of evacuating the outpost, immediately, Israel is giving a reward to serious criminals. Again, that's coming from an Israeli organization. Homesh was evacuated for a reason, and allowing settlers back not only provokes Palestinians and gets in the way of peace, but it empowers these criminal settlers to continue their violence against Palestinians and build more illegal settlements, okay? There were a bunch of these outposts, these settlements in 2005 during the disengagement that were evacuated, and the fact that now the Israeli government is allowing people to return is horrible. It's a spit in the face of peace. It's a spit in the face of what Ariel Sharon had done when he evacuated those in an effort to have some peace. Part of an arrangement that was made, which also is showcasing that Israel won't keep its what it promises to do. These are things that are stopping peace. The settlement expansion needs to stop, all right? Homesh should not be a place, it should not exist at all. It's a Palestinian land. It should be part of a Palestinian state, and that's just the end of it. And anybody who's not speaking out against these Israeli settlers that are doing this is not for peace, and it is like kind of hypocritical because they're not speaking out when Israel does acts of like terror, which these settlers consistently do. They only want to call terrorists when they're Palestinians and not with these Israeli settlers, which is sickening. So we got to stop settlement expansion. Homesh shouldn't exist. And this is just another example of something that is getting in the way of peace, and it sucks. I can't believe this is happening. You know, America spoke out against it. Members of the European Union have spoken out against it. But Israel does not care. They don't have building permits to build anything in this area. Of course, if Palestinians are building something without building permits, they get torn down. But when Israelis do it, they have members of the Knesset telling Israeli soldiers, no, it's okay, let them build. And they're preventing press from getting in there to report on this because they don't want the world to know that they're going against what was agreed upon in 2005, that they're continuing settler expansion, and they're promoting things that are in the way of peace and provoking Palestinians, which is absolutely horrible. Anyways, one more thing I wanted to talk about. You know, I noticed a lot of people are commenting on my videos how whenever someone brings up ethnic cleansing, that, oh, what Israel's doing can't be ethnic cleansing because, you know, the population of Palestinians has grown since 1948. But, you know, ethnic cleansing isn't just about the amount of people. Ethnic cleansing has to do with removing a particular group of people from their land. So, since the land that Palestinians are on has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller since 1948, and it continues to get smaller through intentional Israeli policy, that's why it's ethnic cleansing, all right? It doesn't matter if the population grows. What matters is taking the population from their land. And that's what Israel continues to do. And that's why it's considered ethnic cleansing. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this episode. I want to thank everybody for their support. If you're not following me on social media, please do at Jonathan Randall. Thanks, everybody. I'm Jonathan Randall. How you like me now?